the first few weeks. I also learned to stick to practice rules. That's very important. There
Practice
are very
rules. Say more about practice rules.
rules. Rule number 1, never play when you practice. Rule number 2, never practice when you play. Rule number 3, practice every day. Rule number 4, practice like you play. And so on. I mean, to get into these, like rule number 1, never play when you practice means that playing and practicing are two different mindsets. Playing is creative. You're exploring, you're improvising, you're interacting with other musicians. It's a conversation. You're listening more to other people than to yourself when you're playing. You're part of a team. You kind of inject yourself into a whole structure, of a band with other musicians. You're not the most important thing, and playing is very creative and non-repetitive often. And like I said, you improvise, you have a conversation. Practicing is the opposite. It's super methodical. It's totally boring. It's very frustrating. It's super repetitive, and it's ultra analytical, and you're always listening to yourself. It's a very different mindset. And when you're practicing at home and you are practicing something and you're in that sort of state of mind of being analytical and repetitive and methodical, and you, of course, are frustrated all the time because that's what practicing is. Practicing is never, you never have those big enthusiastic outbursts like, yeah, I did this is so amazing. It's very a slow process of chewing through exercises, for weeks and months and years at a time. And eventually you'll master something, but there is no great euphoria or anything, as a result. You're just like, phew, okay, well, that took me a while. But, it's important to stay in that frame of mind, to be repetitive, to be methodical. And if you interrupt that state of mind with playing, because you feel so frustrated that you feel the need to kind of reward yourself by playing something you've already practiced to make yourself feel good and stroke your ego a little bit, that's super disruptive to methodical practice. For me, at least. And I know that, the same goes for many of my colleagues who have discussed this with. It's important to stay in that frame of mind, to just keep chewing, through this thing. Little by little, step by step, no matter how frustrating it is, it's just about putting in the time and staying focused and being concentrated and doing one thing at a time and not noodling, and mentally kind of sort of veering off and doing something completely different simply to reward yourself and have moments of confidence in yourself, boost your ego a little bit by playing something you've already practiced and then going back to, chewing on that sandwich. Yeah. You know what I mean?
really about pushing through it more from a mental, emotional point of view.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about focus. It's all about focus. No matter how boring it may seem and how frustrating it may be, it's really important to stay with the issue always. And that really helped me. It's helped me save a lot of time because what happens really, most people who are decent practicers, okay, maybe they have let's say if they're good practicers, they have a 50-50 split of practicing and noodling every single day. They practice for 3 minutes and then they get frustrated and, they need to kind of snap out of it a little bit and then they play for a few minutes and they go, oh, I should be practicing this. And they go back and go, back and forth between practicing methodically and playing and somewhat rewarding themselves. If you have, a 1 hour practice session per day, 30 minutes are spent noodling. That means, 50% of your practice time are wasted on playing. I always believe that playing should have its own place. You should dedicate time to playing, not to practicing. It's a separate thing. When I'm practicing, I just practice. I focus on the one thing. And the thing is, if you're a good practicer like this, which most people are not, and with most people, it's like a 70-30 split of 70% noodling and 30% practicing. If you're a good practicer and you practice 50-50, or, practice 50% play, 50% of your time invested every day, If you're on your path from A to B to become a better drummer, and you look at the 10,000 hour rule, for example, if you break it down 10,000 hours, that's like 3 hours and 40 minutes or something per day for 7 years, every day. Okay? Yep. So if you look at the 50-50 split between playing something you've already practiced and practicing something new every single day, you make the decision every day whether it's going to take you 7 years to get to 10,000 hours or 14 years to get to 10,000 hours, which is a big difference.
Right.
You know, if you set out to reach a goal, you know, you're from A to B, and you look at B can be, you know, 7 years away, or you decide if it's 14 years away every single day. You know, and if you look at it like that, at efficiency and productivity, I think it helps a lot of musicians go, yeah, you know what? Maybe I should just practice these scales right now, or just practice these whatever beats right now and not anything else. I want to learn something new. I have an hour or 2 or 3 hours a day. Why don't I just learn something new all the time? And then I you know, dedicate time to playing and applying all these new things and having fun with other musicians and so on, and being interactive and being creative. But for practicing, you know, I'll stay with the issue, and I just work on things that I need to work on weaknesses, not enforcing strengths, meaning playing things that you've already practiced to make yourself feel good, but to really work, you know, shine a light on the dark areas of your playing every single day, and tweak all those little mistakes and improve as much as you can every day. Learn something new every day.